What's going on, YouTube? The Toyota Tacoma has dominated the midsize truck market for many years, but each year there are more and more rivals showing up. Toyota, however, is very confident in the package they've created, so for 2019 there are only a couple of changes. Of course, we do want to thank our friends at Frankfurt Toyota for giving us access to this Tacoma, and if you're in the market for any new Toyota, be sure to stop by their dealership or check them out via their website, which we provided a link to in the video description. So with the new Ranger just now hitting dealer lots, let's see if the Tacoma can continue to hold off the rivals. So getting started with the exterior, the grille designs were just changed out last year, so those new designs carry over for 2019. This year we've got the TRD Off-Road trim, which has the dark gray mesh interior like the TRD Sport, just minus the hood scoop. The SR trims and Limited share the same shape, but you've got different finishes of black, dark gray, and then chrome. Turning to the headlights, they continue to be projector beam halogens on all models, but with LED daytime running lights for the TRD models and up. And below that, on all but the base SR, you have halogen fog lamps. Now, of course, the Taco is very off-road worthy, so you'll always have this 9.4 inches of ground clearance, but the excellent 32-degree approach angle is reserved for the off-road trim. Moving on to the side, you've got the classic truck look, which is made to look even more rugged on the off-road with black trim around the wheel wells. As far as the cab and bed configurations, you have access cab and this double cab, and then there is a short 5-foot bed or this 6-foot long bed. Like the front, the rear is unchanged this year. However, we do have the optional black badging, which I think looks particularly good on this model's quicksand exterior. The taillights would have clear lenses on the Limited, and you can also get an optional chrome exhaust tip. But overall, the Tacoma continues to be a handsome truck. Even though it is only a midsizer, it has a big presence that hints at all its capability. Now heading up to the wheels, each trim gets their own. Of course, as the off-road oriented model of the lineup, we've got 16-inch alloys wrapped in thick Goodyear Wrangler tires. The TRD Sport, on the other hand, has 17-inch machine finish alloys, and then the top-end Limited brings that up to 18-inch polished alloys. One new thing to mention for 2019 is the SX package, which adds black alloy wheels, black mirrors, and a few other accents to the base SR trim. Moving on up to the mirrors, they are always power adjusting, and on most models they are also heated. Additionally, Limited models will see standard blind spot monitoring, or like this model, it can be added with the tech package for TRDs. Now, as far as all the other safety equipment, the Tacoma was updated last year to include the entire suite of active safety technologies like all other Toyotas. This includes automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection, lane departure alert with sway warning, adaptive cruise control, and auto high beam headlights. None of the rivals, including the new Ranger, have these things standard on all trims. Heading to the back again, the Tacoma actually comes with a more well-equipped bed than a lot of the big pickup trucks. Since you've got an easy lowering tailgate, standard bed liner, standard sliding tie downs, a couple cargo hooks, lighting, and then if you get the TRD or Limited trim, you'll also have a household outlet to power all your tools. And then of course, one of the other most important things about trucks is towing. And here you've got at least 3,500 pounds on all models, but it can be increased to 6,700 pounds by going for the V6 with towing prep package. And all models do also include a full-size spare tire. Finally, to end things on the outside, all Tacomas have 21.1 gallon fuel tanks. Now I won't go through every variety, but this specific model with the V6 and 4-wheel drive can go 422 miles on a tank of fuel. Well, that pretty much covers the exterior, so now let's head on to the cabin. So on the Tacoma, you will find smart entry standard on the TRD trims and up. However, if you do get the manual equipped model of the TRD, then you will sacrifice this. Of course, getting inside the vehicle is super simple. All you have to do is just grab the handle. So checking out the cabin of the 2019 Tacoma, pretty much nothing has changed, but of course that's not necessary since this is a pretty fresh model. Now as far as your materials and colors are concerned, most Tacomas will come with a black interior. It is cloth until you get to the loaded limited trim where it becomes leather. And then on the limited trim you do also have an exclusive color choice of hickory. Turning over to the door trim, it has the same kind of materials. So you will find a kind of rubber texture on most of the trims. However, this is replaced by a leatherette material on your limited. Additionally, you do have one-touch automatic windows for your driver and passenger. Now, one interesting thing that continues this year is that you cannot get a power seat on the Tacoma, no matter what trim you choose. It's always going to be a four-way manual adjusting seat with manual lumbar. And then as far as the cloth itself, it is very nice and high quality, has a pretty attractive stitching design as well. Now we do have the optional Predator steps. As you can see, it's just about the size of your foot. However, there is no driver's side assist grip. So checking out the cabin, like I said, there's no changes in here for 2019. So you continue to have the same pretty masculine looking cabin. Now for the materials, they are relatively nice. So you have a hard touch upper dash portion. And then moving down here to the middle, you'll see that rubberized texture repeated, or once again, it would be leather on the limited. As far as your other materials, they are very solid feeling, have a nice blocky design, and like I said, everything fits together very well, feels very durable. And then to start most Tacomas, you'll just press this button. When the electronics fire up, you will find a touch display standard on every trim. It is 7 inches on the TRD trims and up. However, it is a little bit smaller on the SR trims. Now checking out the gauges, they continue to have the same really cool look. And on most of the trims, except for the basic ones, you will find this large 4.2-inch multi-function display in the middle. Now you can just control it with these buttons on the steering wheel. And of course you can cycle through all the standard affair of things you expect. Compass, radio, sources, as well as your safety systems here at the end. Now coming back to the steering wheel, you will nicely find this leather wrap wheel on all but the very base model. And then as far as your buttons, you do have your standard affair of your audio, phone, and voice commands. This side, like I said, is for the multi-function display, as well as your safety systems. And then you do have standard adaptive cruise control. The wheel itself is manually tilt and telescoping. Then off to the side here, you have your controls for your outlet in the bed, as well as your bed lighting. Now moving on to interior storage, the Tacoma does very well for itself. So starting out with your center console here, as you can see, it is very deep, and you do have a nice felt lining down here at the bottom, which is removable if it gets dirty. This also brings me to the only 2019 interior change. I don't know if you can see it, but there are now 2 charging USB ports down there, versus only just having this one last year, so now you've got 2 additional USB ports. Now coming back to the storage again, you do have some more stuff right here, a cup holder, 2 more cup holders up here, and then another big nice area, which Toyota nicely includes Qi wireless charging on for all but the base SR trims. So that's really nice, usually reserved as options on all cars no matter what the price point is. While I'm here, I do also want to mention the rear window. It is power controlled on the TRD and up, so long as you've got the double cab. Now coming over here to the shifter, it is nicely leather wrapped on all models. Of course, it is very simple to use. You just pull back for drive, then you bump over here to the left to shift manually. When you go into reverse, you will find a standard backup camera. Parking sensors are reserved for only the limited trim. However, we have them optioned on to our model, but the trajectory is not active on any of the trims. And then you also have got your traditional handbrake. Moving on up, you do have your knob for your four-wheel drive controls. And then next to it, you've got your very traditional climate controls. Now, the limited trim would get a dual zone automatic setup, and that is available on both the TRD trims. However, we've got the traditional manual setup. Of course, it's very easy to use. You just got your fan speeds and temperatures. And if you did get that automatic option, you would also have 3-stage heated seats for both the driver and passenger. But anyways, that brings us up to the audio system. So let's go ahead and sample the bass 6-speaker sound system. Sound quality is actually pretty good for a basic system. However, if you go for the limited trim, you can get the more powerful JBL system. But anyways, that brings us to our Entune system, so let's go ahead and take a quick look. So checking out the Entune system, this is not the newest Entune 3.0, but the features are more or less the same, just the graphics a little bit different. And what you're looking at is the home screen. You can change these tiles to be whatever you want, and then you can click into these different things to go straight to it. So this is our Bluetooth audio, which I'm paired to right now, and I can play and pause the music straight from here, as well as change the source to our different available things, including XM radio and Bluetooth. And one feature I do want to point out is that all but the very base SR trims are going to come with standard integrated navigation. This is Toyota's typical map display. And having this does kind of make up for the fact that you still do not have Android Auto or Apple CarPlay on the Tacoma at all. As far as other features, you do have a phone section where your contacts automatically sync over, and you do also have text message support as well if you have a supported phone. But that's pretty much all I'm going to talk about with this system. However, we do have a detailed tech help video available if you want to learn more. A link to that will be provided in the video description. Now moving on up, all but your very base SR trims come with an auto-dimming mirror. However, you will have to get the limited to get the HomeLink universal remote. Up above that, we've actually got our multi-terrain select controller. This is exclusive to the TRD Off-Road. And what it does is just basically give you a whole bunch of different modes. And then obviously we don't have a moonroof. One is available on both of the TRD trims, and it's standard on the limited. But overall, I continue to really like the Tacoma's cabin. There's really just not a lot of trucks that feel trucky nowadays, and this definitely just has that real nice trucky masculine vibe. And I think that's why it appeals to so many people. But anyways, now I'll go ahead and hand it off to Mason, who will finish up the rest of the cabin.
So in the rear seat of the Tacoma double cab, you're going to find a pretty good amount of space. Its technical rating is around 33 inches of rear legroom and 38 inches of rear headroom. That does place it behind the Chevy Colorado, but most of you probably won't notice the difference. Now heading over here to the door trim, it is finished pretty good. So you do have a padded area right here with that same rubberized material, as well as a silver door handle. and a power window. And down below that we do have some cup holders as well as some door storage. Now the seat itself is a little bit on the firm side, but it does have a nice design through here, and it can fold up, which I'll show you in just a minute. Now to get in, our model does have the optional Predator steps, so you just step on that. I'm not really going to because it's pretty icy, but you can do that and then just grab to get in. Now here in the center, Toyota does keep it pretty simple, so all we do have is some cup holders right here, and that's in addition to the ones that are in the door. You won't find any outlets or anything, and you also will not find a rear armrest back here. Up top though, we do have some lighting, so we have center dome lighting, as well as a nice headliner and an assist grip. And sitting behind Drew's seating position, I do have about an inch of rear leg room, and my feet can easily slide up under the seat. And sliding over here, with the seat scooted all the way back, it's pretty much the same story with about an inch of leg room. Summed up, the Tacoma has a very spacious and nice rear seat. Now, like I said on the other side, the seats do fold up, so just grab this little strap and fold them up, and they do fold vertically so you can store stuff right back here. And you do also have a little bit of a little storage compartment back here that is completely hidden, so if you want to hide stuff, this is a great spot to do that. Now the seat backs can also fold if you grab this little strap, and they do fold right down. And back behind the seat, you do have another hidden storage area, so Toyota really has knocked it out of the park with hidden storage areas here in the rear. We'll talk about the pricing here in just a minute. Over here on the passenger seat, it is manually adjusting, but it does have that same nice design. And it is manually adjusting on all models, even the limited trim. Now in front of the passenger, we do have some more of that rubberized material. And down below that, we do have a good sized glove box. It is nicely dampened, and there's actually quite a bit of space back here. Up top, we do have a sun visor with lighting and a mirror, and you can also detach it and extend it. But anyway, guys, that pretty much sums up all the rear areas of the Tacoma double cab. So now let's go ahead and talk about the powertrain.
Alrighty, so let's go ahead and talk about the powertrains. Now the Tacoma does have two different engine choices, and those both carry over for 2019. So in the vast majority of models, you're going to have the Atkinson cycle 3.5 liter V6, which produces 278 horsepower and 265 pound-feet of torque. Even the trims it's not standard on, it is optional. Now there is a lower engine option that's standard on only the SR and SR5, and that is your 2.7 liter 4-cylinder, producing 159 horsepower and 180 pound-feet of torque. Of course, both 2- and 4-wheel drive versions are available, and you've also got the choice between a 6-speed manual or a 6-speed automatic transmission.
Now, of course, there are tons of different fuel economies, as in any pickup truck, and on this particular model with the 3.5 liter V6 and 4-wheel drive, it's rated at 18 city, 22 highway, 20 combined.
So taking off in the Tacoma, power is pretty good. This is, like I said, a carryover from last year and the year before that. So it very much drives the same way as it always has.
The Tacoma is a really good car for its trucky feel.
But like Mason was saying, one of the big characteristics of this vehicle is that trucky feel. So this is not as refined as perhaps like these big luxurious trucks that we've been driving recently, like an F-150 Platinum or something like that. This does have a different feel. This does have that off-roading feel, that masculine type of feel, and that's exactly what people are looking for.
Yeah, this V6, it may be a 3.5 liter V6 from Toyota, but it's definitely not the same one as like what's in the Highland or anything like that. It doesn't have that same level of refinement, but it definitely has that trucky feel that really the owners are going to want.
And with that, you won't find any type of auto start stop system or anything like that, which, judging by everyone's comments, usually
I'd say most of you
that's probably not
yeah.
something people are gonna miss.
And of course, on a snowy day like today, this car is very capable. It does have 4-wheel drive, so you're definitely not going to have any issues as far as like driving in some snow or anything like that. This car has a lot of ground clearance, so I think that you would be more than fine to drive this in any type of really snowy situation.
And then the last main thing that I want to talk about is just the ride quality of this truck. It rides really smooth. This is definitely comfortable. It absorbs the bumps pretty well. It's not too bouncy. I know a lot of trucks, especially tall ones, can be kind of jarring and have that rebound effect. I don't feel that too much in this. It seems like it's pretty comfortable to live with for sure.
Yeah, and it definitely, like you said, it does ride high, so you get that trucky visibility. You have plenty of visibility, and you feel like you're riding on top of the road, and you have a very commanding presence, yet still with the good ride quality.
But overall, there's a good reason why the Tacoma has been a bestseller for so many years and continues to be today, and that's just because it's a great all-around truck. It's the right size for a lot of people, and it's got the right personality that a lot of people want. A lot of trucks are, like I said, becoming more and more luxurious and refined, and not that this one isn't, but it does give you enough of that feel just to feel more like a traditional truck that a lot of people crave.
Well guys, we hope you enjoyed watching one of the first in-depth looks at the 2019 Toyota Tacoma TRD Off-Road. Stay watching for a quick overview of the pricing, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons below. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.